What's up, everybody? Joe White here, and I want to talk today about WWE and their fledgling business. Um, I did a thing about SmackDown yesterday and about how what a lame duck show it was, and you know, the sky is falling, the sky is falling, and it very well may be with WWE. The boom period may just very well be over when it comes to WWE. They had a good run. They had a good 3-year run. And now here we are, and people are starting to get priced out. That's what happens. It's when you have a boom period. But I don't even think in the '90s it was like this, and even in the early 2000s it was not like this. Um, I can remember my very first WWE live event that I went to. I mean, I've been watching since I was about 5 years old. But the first live event that I went to was all the way back in 2002. And it was the Richmond Coliseum. And it was the Raw after, um, if you remember in 2002, early 2002, Vince McMahon on SmackDown did the thing where he was talking to himself. And then at the end, he turns around and goes, "I'm going to kill it. I'm going to kill my own creation, me." And then the office chair turns around and it's got the NWO logo. And he's like, "Me and the NWO." And then the Monday afterwards, they were in Richmond for Raw. And that was when they debuted the very first ever WWE Desire video. And it was set to Kid Rock's Lonely Road of Faith. And it was like a history of WWE type thing. Um, I remember sitting in the front row of the lower bowl because I remember I actually sat in the area where the hockey players would normally sit for hockey games. Um, I sat there, and I think my aunt bought me the tickets for my birthday back in January. And even this is 2002. You know, the dot-com bubble was just starting to burst. The economy, from what I remember, was not that bad. And I think my aunt, for 2 tickets to sit right there, they were $150 a piece to sit right there, lower bowl. Nowadays, those same seats would be about $300-400, if not more. You know, it's becoming ridiculous to sit and this WWE holiday tour that they're doing. These are house shows. They mean nothing in the grand scheme of things. There's a reason why WWE got rid of house shows. You know, I watched RGT 85. He did a video about how killing at the house shows really did, bad business. Because I can remember when I would buy the tickets and my friend would drive us, and it would cost maybe about $150 a piece for the tickets. And it's like, dude, the thing is, they phased out the house shows, like going to Cape Girardeau, Missouri every year. They don't go to Cape Girardeau anymore. Why? Because the building costs about $10,000 to rent out. Then you got to pay the workers, you got to pay the employees to come set up. You got to, by the time you're losing money on them. That's why they stopped them. Nobody was going to them. Now, of course, this is like right when the boom period first started. This was right when TKO bought WWE. So when they took over WWE, I think the boom period had already kind of been underway. So the house shows were a loser to them. It is a business. It is the sports entertainment / professional wrestling business. You got to kind of realize that they're there to make money. So all this talk of, oh, they're greedy, they're greedy, they're greedy. Yeah, that's their job to be greedy. It's their job to milk as much money out of you as possible. But it's also their job to not alienate their fan base. And that's where you gotta have that balance there. We want to make money, yes. But we don't want to milk them for everything that they're worth now. We want to do it over time. And there's a difference in, okay, we'll do this, and then we'll be back next year for Raw, and then we'll maybe do a premium live event, and then we'll go do a SmackDown there the year after. There's a difference in doing that and, keeping the ticket prices kind of steady. And then there's a difference of, that is opposed to, we're going to milk them for every damn dime they're worth, make them pay $10,000 to sit front row for Cena's last match, and then we won't go there for 2 or 3 years. We want to see your product. We love WWE. We're fans of professional wrestling. But, there's a big difference in those two business logics. And we want to keep coming every year, but we don't want to spend a paycheck on you. Okay? There's WWE to me is right above going every week to see a movie. You may go to the theater. It costs you, well, nowadays it costs me about $40 to go to a movie. By the time you buy the popcorn, the drinks, and all that. Me, my son, the family, we all go out to a movie. It costs me every bit of $40. But there's a huge difference in $40 to go see a movie and $500 to go to a premium live wrestling event. I mean, it's when I went to Bad Blood back in last October, it cost, we sat right up on behind the stage, so they were limited view seats, and it cost me and my son $1,000 for the weekend, pretty much, to go. By the time we paid for a rental car to drive down to Atlanta, we had to do hotel rooms. We did food and the tickets. It cost us right around $1,000 for the weekend. That's crazy. That's flat out crazy. So the people are getting priced out. They're getting, tired of it. So yes, attendance dipped. Now, granted, it was Halloween. We kind of got to throw these numbers from this past weekend out. Well, not this past weekend, but last weekend out. It's Halloween. So we throw those numbers away, but still, attendance is dipping. People say, oh, Salt Lake City. Here's the thing. Salt Lake City does not matter to WWE when Salt Lake City is paying them $3 and $4 million to come there. That's what a lot of people are overlooking now. People are paying WWE to come there. It's called site fees. UFC does the same thing. The NFL, I'm sure, is doing the same thing. They're getting money. They ran all those international games, Brazil, and they did London, and I think they ran one in Germany this year. You honestly think the NFL sitting there going, okay, we'll come over? No. People like London and Germany and everywhere else pay them to come there. WrestleMania last year got $4 million to come there. This year they're getting $6 million. So it's increasing year over year. Do you honestly think that they really care about the gate when they're getting $6 million just to show up and put on a show? They're sold shows. Look at Saudi Arabia. That's the whole reason why Saudi Arabia is getting a WrestleMania. Because they're willing to kick them more money. The Saudi Arabia deal to begin with is a cash grab. They don't care about politics. They don't care about if it's the right thing to do. Mishogi, you killed this is blood money. They don't give a crap. They'll wipe the blood off of it and spend it handedly. Gladly. When will people learn they don't care? And the only way to show them that you care and that you want them to change is to stop going. Stop watching. I mean, I have not been to a WWE event. I think I went to a WWE event in April. I went to, I think it was a SmackDown in Greensboro that they had earlier this year. That was the last one I went to. They're coming to Raleigh in March. I don't know if I'm going to go. I'm lucky enough to have a job where I make pretty decent money and can plan my days off around certain things like that. But, to the common worker who works a 9 to 5, has a family, a wife and 2 kids, they can't afford it. So they're not going to go. And to be honest, that's what Vince McMahon always wanted. Vince McMahon has, he's no longer there, but he's gotten what he's wanted, and the WWE is now a highbrow, high-ticket event. He hated the common family coming to these events. I mean, he wanted wrestling to be seen as a sports entertainment. We're more than just the old wrestling. And he's gotten his wish. But the families that are getting phased out are kind of hurt. WWE, they just are. I mean, anybody who pays $10,000 to sit front row for John Cena's last match, you got, hey, share the wealth. That's all I got to say. If you got $10,000 a piece to burn on WWE tickets, you got more money than you know what to do with. And you maybe want to rethink your priorities a little bit. That's all I'm saying. Because I'll be honest, I wouldn't pay $1,000 to sit in that front row, let alone 10. I don't care if you get to meet John Cena or what. You know what they do for these meet and greets? They line you up, they put them at a table, you go through, you get your autograph, you shake your hand, and that's it. You're not getting to have meaningful conversation with the guy. He's not going to spend time with you. He's not going to sit there and talk to you for 20 minutes on end. No. They move you through, and that's it. They herd you in there like cattle and get you out of there like cattle. But I think the bubble is bursting. The holiday tour ain't doing too well. They did less than $10,000 each night in Salt Lake City, which the Salt Lake City numbers you got to throw out. Because, again, they're getting paid to be there anyway. Now, Salt Lake City may look at it and go, we're never going to do that again. Didn't turn out how we wanted. And if Saudi Arabia, if you think WWE is sitting there worried about if people from the U.S. are going to travel to Saudi Arabia for WrestleMania, they don't give a shite whether you show up or not, whether you fly over there or not. They got their money. They're going to get the Saudi Arabia yuckos to show up. The stadium will be packed. We still don't know if it's a 1 or 2 night event, but either way, the fans there are going to show up. And that'll be it. Same with the Royal Rumble this year. Or next year, I should say. Royal Rumble's in Saudi Arabia. Nobody's going to fly over to Saudi Arabia to go see that shit. Nobody's going to go to an area where they barely have paved roads. You can't drink the fucking water that comes out of the faucets. You can't find good food to eat. The stuff looks better going out than it does going in, if you catch my drift with the food. English is not a primary language over there. Nobody is going to venture over there for a wrestling show. I can't name one person that goes, man, are you excited for WrestleMania in Saudi? And it's not really a political thing. It's like this with all these European shows. Nobody's going, if they do WrestleMania over in England, nobody from here is going to go over there for it. You may get the 1 or 2 people, the selective, but you're not going to see hundreds upon hundreds of them like you do when the European wackos come over here. Which they don't even do anymore. It used to be like right around WrestleMania 30, you had that influx of Europeans coming over here, even though WWE would go over there a month later and give you the same fucking matches. But you don't even see that hardly anymore. So they don't care about your politics. They don't care if you show up or not anymore. But they're because they're going to get their money. Whether it be through site fees, whether it be through governments, whether it be, What, sponsors? That's another thing people are complaining about. They got the Slim Jim table and the Prime Energy this and this, that, and the other. You don't complain when basketball players now have a patch like the Oklahoma City Thunder. Every one of them got a Love's Travel Stops patch on their jersey. The Seattle Mariners, every single one of them got a Nintendo patch on their jersey. Nobody has complained about NASCAR. NASCAR, golly, look at NASCAR. NASCAR has been doing this for ages. Everywhere you look, there's a sponsor. Hell, without sponsorship money, NASCAR probably would not exist. Nobody complains when, somebody, driver X wins a race and they have to get out of their car and go, man, our race car was as fast as Xfinity Wi-Fi today. I want to thank Coca-Cola, Moon Pie Snacky Cakes, Advance Auto Parts, Tide. Nobody complains when they live in NASCAR when they rattle off the sponsors because it's normal. We knew this was going to happen as soon as Vince McMahon stepped down, as soon as they ousted him. I don't mind it. I don't mind it in the slightest. Now, what I do mind and what I do care about is when we have a 4-match show that could take up easily maybe an hour and a half of our time, but we got to take a daggone 10-minute break at least in between the matches, not to run video packages, no, but to run commercials. And then we got to come back and go, Salt Lake City is a premier tourist destination, whether it be for skiing or this or that, and we're welcoming back to the Olympics. Every single commercial break. Sorry, but outside of your little event, nobody's traveling. Nobody's sitting there going, man, we got to go to Salt Lake City soon. Man, we got to go to Vegas soon. Man, we got to go to New York soon. No, nobody cares. Anyway, has the WWE bubble burst? Have fans gotten phased out price-wise? Are you going to stop going to WWE events? Let me know in the comments below, and we will see you down the road.